Raghunath and Mike P again for our Sadhu training, and Mike's going to talk a little bit about building that fire now.
So when you actually once you've got your fire made, then you can go ahead and do the bow drill as you have in the other video. But I never showed you how to actually make the fire. So it's cloudy, it's starting to spit rain, it's been a little bit damp. Right here we've got this dead cottonwood tree, and there's a lot of holes in it. So if I reach in, I can pull out this fine tinder. Perfect. Which is really, it's dry. I can touch it to the top of my lip, my upper lip, which is really sensitive to moisture. And this is good stuff for my bow drill. Today I'm going to start it with a match, but this is all valuable stuff too. And if you look, we're along the edge of a creek, tons of flood debris. Stuff like this. Some of this is wet, some of this is all right. I'm going to bring it and add that. So I'm just going to have a quick walk along here and grab the materials that we need to get a fire going. This stuff snaps so easily, it tells me that it's really dry. So I'm going to grab a bunch of this.
Now, are you screwed if it's everything's wet? What do you do? Does birch bark work for tinder or only for like sort of kindling?
Birch bark is good if you have a flame. So if you have a match, birch bark is fine. I steer away from birch bark because I like to reserve that for an emergency. So if I practice without birch bark, then when I've got it, it's a bonus.
So birch bark has this benefit of lighting when wet.
Yeah, it's got an oil in it, and so if you pull it right off the tree, even off of dead stuff that's been down for a year or more.
I actually did that the other day. I didn't realize how much it will ignite, and I peeled tons of layers off dead trees. And I thought it was rotted. I brought it into my house, in my fireplace. I thought it was going to burn the house down. It went up so high.
Yeah, it can burn.
And it wouldn't go down.
Yeah.
It wouldn't go. Now someone might say, well, you're walking barefoot and there's stones everywhere. Want to comment on that?
So walking barefoot, again, fox walking. Check out the little fox walking video or the walking video. We'll get more into that during the Sadhu training. Another big issue is gathering wood from along by the creek. People say, don't do it. When it breaks like that, it doesn't break clean, it's damp. I gather from along the creek all the time, but I'm picky about what I get.
I see some wild food here too. That's another video.
Oh, yeah.
Ramps
everywhere. No, it's loaded.
They're smaller at my house. I think I'm in another climate.
Burdocks. Yeah. All right, let's head over there and we're going to grab some more stuff and get this fire going. That stuff snaps beautifully, so I know we're pretty good. Here it's a little damp on the outside, but this is bigger stuff, so I'll build that on the outside of the fire. You know what, we can do it right here.
So as you can tell by sort of like the way my hat, I got a winter hat on, it's a little chilly today. When I first went to India and I saw the people living outside, and I was bundled up with hooded sweatshirts and jackets and thick winter socks, and I was thinking, how is everybody walking barefoot? Are they just poor? Why do they have just like a thin little wrap on? I'm freezing. And it's sort of like when we get domesticated like an animal, we become softer. We become weaker. And just like if you hang out with farmers, there's a strength you get just from being outside, staying outside. You want to comment on that at all, Mike?
Well, you get climatized to your area, and if your area happens to be a cubicle in an office, then that's what you're going to get climatized to. I'm seldom cold because I spend a lot of time outside.
By the way, Mike's a teacher at my kids' Waldorf school, One thing I love about the Waldorf school is the first thing they do in the morning. It could be the dead of winter, even in kindergarten. The kindergarten teacher's like, "It's a beautiful day out. Let's all go get dressed and go outside." And it could be freezing out. And I'm thinking in my mind, oh my God, the kids are going outside all day. But it's a great thing. The kids just get used to it. I remember when I lived in New York City, they would not let the kids outside. They wouldn't let them play on the patio. They wouldn't even play, what to speak of, go to a park on a regular. They're just indoors all day. And that affects a kid's consciousness. It affects how they breathe. It affects what they breathe. Although probably speaking, it might be better to breathe indoor than outdoor.
So that's that punky wood that I've that I've buffed up with my hands. There's all this flood debris.
You're set.
This stuff, I don't know how dry this is. I may use that as a little bit of a buffer around it to protect from the wind a little bit. But this stuff here, this is going to go up nicely. And I'm just gonna make a small, very small teepee shape. It doesn't have to necessarily be pretty. But this teepee shape is great because once you light it, as soon as heat starts going up, it's going to start drying it out. So from the moment that first match is lit, it's going to be helpful. It's going to be drying the things out above it. Too many people in a rainy situation, they're in a hurry to get a fire going. And so what they do is they end up spending all this time lighting that little piece of birch bark or whatever it is, and then they quickly try to add things. But the moment they light that birch bark, it's wasting heat. The heat's going up and it's not doing anything. It's not drying anything out. So I think positively this fire is going to go. I'm going to make sure that the moment I put that match in there, it's working for me.
Any other magical woods you can think of like that birch bark? Or does that stand alone?
I mean, there's other parts of the country. There's things called fat wood where you can go and you can take wood from the base of certain pines, conifers, and they're loaded with pitch, and you can light them with a match, and those things will just burn like a torch. So I'm going to find the spot that I want to light. This is something that I do with the younger kids where we actually use matches, and a big part of it is learning how to light a match without it going out, not standing up, lighting, waiting for it to burn, and then putting in. But I'm picking a spot where I'm going to light. Right now the wind's picking up a little bit, so I'm going to give it a moment. And sometimes I'll even have, with the little kids, I'll have them take a marker, and they're going to put it right where they're going to put that match. And then that way you're sure of where it's going to go. So you don't have to think at the last minute. You can just put it in, and then you can go ahead and close that door and sit back and let the fire do what it does.
I'm excited already. What is it about fire that somehow changes your entire consciousness?
Well, I mean, here we are on a cloudy day. It's starting to rain. It's a little chilly. And here we've got sunshine right here. We've got heat. We've got warmth. It immediately becomes the center of a camp if you're out there on your own. It's a friend. It's the caveman TV. It's something to watch. It's something to help you. It's a tool. It's a lot of things. And for many people, it's survival.
I will say, when I first moved upstate out of the city, fire became a great friend of ours and replaced the television. It's like a draw. We have a draw to the elements, and if we don't get it in the form of this fire, you get it in the form of cinema or cartoons or something like that. But truthfully, put your kid in front of cartoons and put your kids in front of a fire. How will they behave when you take the fire away? How will they behave when you take the cartoons away? Truthfully, when they walk away from fire, it's as if they're in meditation. And you probably know that yourself from being in front of a campfire. Matter of fact, the smell of the campfire brought back so many samskaras or memories in my mind to a time of being peaceful, a time where being grounded, a time where being connected. And so here we are again. You take that same type of fire going through the form of electricity, You take that away from a kid, it's almost like you're taking away crack from a crack addict.
All right, so now I'm going to take the fire away from you.
No.
See you this summer.